our session. And I'm also going to, I'm going to take a screenshot of everybody. So on three, give a big smile. One, two, three. All right. Okay. All that stuff taken care of. All right. So for today, uh, we are building on the locker room session that we had in June, introducing Green Sports Month, which is this October, and which is a couple months away. And so, but some of you were on that locker room session, but a bunch of you were not. So I'm going to take you through the basics of Green Sports Month. We'll share with you where we are right now and how you can get involved if you're not yet involved. And then we'll see if I'd like to brainstorm a bit to see if we can come up with one really cool big idea. And we'll get to that towards the back end. And I'll go through this uh, presentation part fairly quickly because some of you have seen it already. So I'm going to share my screen. So just give me a second. Hopefully, can you guys see that? Does that come through? Yes?
Yep.
Okay. So let's go to the start. All right. So let's talk about Green Sports Month. And in fact, let's give it a Green Sports Month look. This is the first viewing in public of our new Green Sports Month logo. And let's give a hand to Patches, who developed it.
Oh, you incorporated it already.
Oh, I do not let a trick go by.
Yeah.
How about that? So
Sure.
anyway,
Wow.
and
That's the first logo I've ever designed, by the way. And I did it with chat, but yeah, I think it's cool.
how about that? I do too. So uh, October is Green Sports Month. This is just a quick backgrounder. So what is it? It's a global series of events, a mix of virtual, hybrid, and or in person, um, and all sorts of programming throughout October that that brings green sports content forward from all corners of the eco athletes world. We see there will be two types of events or programming. Those that are led by eco athletes, meaning the organization, meaning us here in the home office, so to speak, and those that are led by you all. And there is overlap on these things, but you'll see as we give you examples of what they are, kind of the differences. Um, and where possible, what our goal is to measure the impact. I'm sorry, to for these events to have a measurable fan call to action. If we can do that, great. It's not a requirement, but what we want to do is build the profile of the green sports movement, the idea that climate change is impacting sports, and that sports and athletes in particular have a huge role to play in building awareness of our climate challenges and opportunities and to create ways for your followers to get involved. And our goal is to make Green Sports Month the most impactful event in this space by 2030. Our approach is going to be kind of like what we did with the Collegiate Cup. Um, we're looking at this year, 2026, as a pilot to get a few programs, a few events to as many as we can, but we want to do we want to do it right. We want to make it simple for you to take part, and we want to make it so that those events and programs that we have are as successful as possible, obviously, so that once we've been through October and we've done this, we can package this together and show the funding world, the philanthropic world, other brands that are involved in this space, and any entity that we believe would be a good partner for eco athletes and for Green Sports Month to help build it to a level that would be exponentially bigger than what we had in 2026. So 2026 a pilot, and then expand it by leaps and bounds in 27 and beyond. And that you might say, well, Lou, that's you're thinking big. And I'm saying, yeah, I'm thinking because this is a big problem. Because y'all are athletes, I'm not, but you are. You think big, you act big, you have potential to reach a lot of people. And once this hits, it can be massive. So you're in on the ground floor of something that can be very big. Whoops, hold on. So, like I said, there are two types of programming that we're creating or that we are being part of. One is Eco Athletes, the organization, are developing these programs, and they include some examples. On October 5th, which is a Monday, we are going to have a green sports panel at UPenn in Philadelphia, University of Pennsylvania, at their Climate Week. And it is featuring Dr. Michael Mann, who is an Eco Athletes board member and who some of you may know as the one of the foremost climate scientists in the world. He is also the head of the Penn Institute on Climate Policy and Media, and he's going to moderate it. And then three Eco Athletes champions from Penn, including Sam Mattis, a two-time Olympian. He was back from the class of 16, will be on the panel. So that's on the 5th. On the 6th, the very next day, we are going to pivot to a virtual event. And this is the Sport Positive Summit. And for some of you who are new to this space, you may not have heard of it. Some of you have heard of it. It is one of the two biggest convenings of the green sports world on an annual basis. And it emanates from London. And typically it's a hybrid event, but this year it's going to be all virtual. And they are giving us a great positioning. I'm going to be interviewing Dr. Catherine Hayhoe, who is an Eco Athletes Hall of Famer. She's also a climate scientist, and she is, in my opinion, the best climate communicator I've heard. She's spoken to our champions on these locker room sessions on 3 occasions. So some of you have seen her and asked her questions, so you know what Catherine's about. And so that's going to be at 1:30 Eastern Time on October 6th. Additionally, Sport Positive is going to give us the opportunity to provide to have video content that would run towards the end of September to promote this and to promote Green Sports Month. So we are getting a very big opportunity with one of the biggest events on the green sports calendar every year. And then another one of the events that we're creating or programming that we're creating is the induction into our Hall of Fame of Caroline Gleich, and we're working on a date for that in the middle or to the latter part of the month. She's a retired world-class skier who then became a climate activist, lobbying Congress on all manner of climate legislation and initiatives. And then she ran for Senate in Utah, got the Democratic nomination, but lost. and then has since and she was in her only in her late 30s when she did that a couple years ago, and then she has since won local office in her state, and a she has charisma. She's a persona, and we're working on whether it'll be an Instagram live or a podcast. So those are examples of stuff that we're curating or creating. And in terms of Instagram lives, we will be doing a couple of those as well. Forgot about that one. In terms of champions-led events, and this is uh, uh, where you guys come in, obviously. Um, well, we can put the Green Sports Month banner and we can promote it through stuff that you're already doing. We can, as we say, Green Sports Monthify it, what you're already doing in October. So, what are some examples? Um, in the college sports space, there a bunch of the folks who are on this call, or a few at least, have either led or participated in what are called green games. And Emily Pape from Cornell, who's on the call, can talk more specifically about that. There are a variety of green games being planned at uh, Cornell and some other campuses. Some of the we have uh, Cornell is also having a series of lectures uh, around green sports in a class that Emily and others created a couple years ago. And so all of those can be promoted as part of Green Sports Month. So the reason I'm highlighting this is if you can think of stuff that you guys are already doing or already going to be doing in October, whether, and you don't have to be a college student, it could be any action, any activity that you are doing that has to do with climate and the environment in the month of October, let us know. We can put it on our calendar. We can promote it. We can run video about it um, after it's happened. So that's that aspect. And then champions are starting to create new programming, including some of the folks who are on this Zoom tonight are involved in some of these. So, number one is the Head of the Charles Regatta program. The Head of the Charles Regatta is one of the biggest rowing events in the world. It's in Boston, the weekend of October 17th, 18th. And uh, we have uh, we have several student athletes in at Boston area schools, some of whom are on this call from BU. We have Northeastern now represented. We also have Tufts with Kiki. We have Babson and Patches. Would you like to share some of the things we're planning for Head of the Charles weekend?
Sure. Well, just for some background, the Head of the Charles is the largest international rowing regatta in the world, and it just so happens to be in Boston. It's not only for collegiate rowers; it's for like elite rowers, Olympians, and then also recreational athletes. It was hard for me to wrap my head around that, but then I was like, oh, so it's kind of like a marathon, right? Like you could be in the Boston Marathon and you could be, competing for the actual ultimate win, or you could just be a recreational person who's walking the thing. And so it's similar to that if you've never seen a regatta or could imagine it. So we do have a number of rowers. We actually have a really elite rower that's an eco athlete who unfortunately her own competition takes her away from the Head of the Charles at that time, but she's still involved in the process with the sort of organization committee of the Head of the Charles. So with the athletes that we have in and around the Boston area, we've been talking about what to do, and we're considering doing a panel, that would be open to the public that would include Eco Athletes Champions on the panel and people who are students, non-students, athletes, non-athletes would be, anyone from the public would be invited to attend. And in addition to that, because it's a international, people are coming from all over the place and may not be familiar with Boston, we are going to put together a green guide to attending the Head of the Charles. So we will have that out in advance for people as educational information. We will be creating content around that. For example, the traffic in Boston is always terrible, but during the Head of the Charles, it's just impenetrable. And the parking is super expensive. So, like, blue bikes are a thing in Boston that if you're not from the city, you might not know. So, that would be something that we could talk about in, say, a social media post. We'll be putting together a summary of information online. We'll be printing the information to put up all around the Charles River locations if we get approval for that. There are vegan options that we will point people towards both near the race location and throughout Boston. So there's a bunch of information that we plan to make available to people so that even spectators can make their Head of the Charles experience more sustainable.
Awesome. And important to note here is that, like I said, we have Kiki who's on the call, Talia Agrillo, the first Talia who's on the call, Ruthie as well from Northeastern just joined today. And so there are about 5 or 6 or maybe 7 eco athletes champions in the area we've been brainstorming, we've been working on this. And for those of you who are not in this area, in the Boston area, but you can think of, oh, are there other eco athletes champions where I am? And for example, I was talking with Sadie earlier today. She's based in San Diego. And we have 3 other eco athletes champions in the San Diego area. And Sadie's like, oh my gosh, not to put words in your mouth, but you said, oh my gosh. Um, I've got some ideas. I said, oh, we need to connect you with Lena Taylor, and who was a beach volleyball Olympian, and 2 softball players from UC San Diego. And so we're going to make that happen. And, so you guys can create it. Like, it's grassroots, ground up. And so also on this, an example is we have 5 para champions who from, let's see, uh 2 from no, we have 6, 2 from the US, 3 from Canada, and 1 from the UK. And there was a study that came out from the Yale program on climate change communications maybe 2 weeks ago that showed that disabled people are feel are affected more by climate change, global warming than are able-bodied people. And as soon as I saw that study, I shared it with our para champions, and they were like, "Oh, we've got to do something for Green Sports Month." So one of the para champions, her name is Grace Newfer. She's not on the call tonight, but she's a Paralympic medal winning swimmer from Chicago, and she has a podcast, and she wants to do 2 episodes of the podcast around this study. And we're going to try and get the director of the Yale program on climate communications to be on the pod with her and other of our champions. And then so that's an example. And so what we want to do by sharing these is to get your minds going. And uh, you know, and it can be simple. It could be a series of short videos that you can create that have a climate theme. You can do an Instagram takeover. You may have seen we've had a couple of Instagram takeovers this summer. Our Instagram is open for you to take over during October. So what we want to do is have a lot of content that is accessible and that engages our audiences and your followers to take an action. And then Green Sports Pod is the podcast that I do. It's been occasional, but for Green Sports Month, we're going to do one podcast per week during during October, and we will soon be getting that lineup out. So, for Green Sports Pod, we want to get the most compelling stories out there, the most compelling actions. It's going to be a video pod. Normally it's audio, but I think for this we'll go video, um, and it'll drop in the middle of the week because those are the best days for our podcast. And it could be me interviewing one of you all or a group, and our goal is to build to 5,000 listeners by the end of October. And given what we get on Green Sports Pod, it's a stretch, but I think we can do it. Okay, so that's where we are. And by the way, we will be sending this video out because I know and we'll be sending the presentation out for you guys. And we'll send the video from the last week's session as well, and you can mix and match if you want to watch it. Watch both. Um, anyway, uh, so as I said at the beginning, what I'd like to brainstorm with you all is there an idea that we can create aside in addition to all that we've highlighted already, right? One unified Green Sports Month program that would be kind of an umbrella that works for the entire eco athletes ecosystem. That is the champions, you guys, the fans, our partners, us, me and Patches and the board. Something that's simple to do, that generates media coverage. And if it can generate action by our followers, our fans, your fans, um, that would be incredible. We are, you know, like I said, I think big. So could we come up with the ice bucket challenge for green sports? And one thing, I don't want to force it. If we don't have it, that's fine. But I just thought, hey, we took some time last week with our first of these two sessions. I want to take some time now. So I'm going to stop sharing at this moment so we can come back to you all. And so if you have an idea and any thoughts, also, if you want to opine on what we've shown so far, but the main thing is if you have an idea for a big uh, one unified Green Sports Month program, feel free to share. There are no bad ideas. This is a brainstorm. You can either raise your hand physically, or if you know how to find that little hand thing, which I never can figure out where the heck it is, you can do that. But if anybody would like to start on an idea,
Go ahead, Talia.
wait, which
Hi.
Talia? Talia Green.
Hi. Yes. Um, I okay. This is I think an idea to start, but probably wouldn't be something like a final thing, but maybe we'll spur some thoughts is like something to wear like wearing a beanie or gloves and it'll I think still be pretty warm. Actually, I guess it depends on where you are. But I guess something for me like a runner in Southern California is still quite warm in October and wearing like gloves when it's already warm out as a symbol of like it's
Ooh.
hot out here. And it could be I don't know if we have like a pin or like something with the Green Sports Month logo that could go with it, but it could just be gloves and stuff that people already have. But like gearing up in that gear maybe for a workout or a practice. And then I think it's a great way to get people talking. Like, what are they doing out there? Why are there people in October wearing like ski goggles or ski gear or like something like that? And I feel like that could be really scalable too. But perhaps even like someone in a high level competition during that time, if they're doing that and able to during the competition, then it's something they could talk about in an interview super easily as well.
Very cool.
Just a thought.
And thank you.
Yeah, that's really creative.
Ridian has raised his hand digitally from, I think you're
Yes, I
in
figured out how to
Melbourne.
do it.
Wait,
Yes,
and wait a minute. Is it 1 in the afternoon? You're
it's 11 a.m.
11 in the morning.
Yep. Um,
Tomorrow.
yes, I mean in the future.
Yes.
Um, it's not a specific idea, but I suppose it's more of a general, like, I guess, trying to have like a call to action to get, supporters and whoever else follows us on various, social media or in person or whatnot to try to get them to take an action um, and associate it with sports. Um, yeah, like I'm not sure what the action necessarily would be, um, but yeah, I feel like if we're going to try to make an impact with Green Sports Month, like it'd be great to associate it with an action that people can take because I guess sometimes, particularly, I know I've been watching from Australia, like all the heat waves in the northern hemisphere this summer, and with the Super El Nino being like, I'm not looking forward to Australian summer. Um, it can feel pretty overwhelming for some people, and I think trying to use Green Sport Month as like, how can we give people an action to help them feel like they're actually doing something about climate change? I think would be valuable in terms of making an impact.
You, and so anybody with some ideas for actions first, and then Bridget, I see your hand is raised, but we'll come to you in a sec. So could an action be like uh, um, showing how you, instead of driving, you're walking to the supermarket or you're walking to the post office? Or is that
Yeah,
too?
yeah, it could be replacing a car trip with a walking or public transport or riding a bike, or maybe it could be picking up some litter. Um, God
Clogging?
knows when I'm
Well,
out there when I'm out there training these days, like so often on bike rides, I just see discarded energy gels, and I know most people will hold on to them in a bin, but there's enough people that just drop them that you see them pretty regularly. Um, yeah, basically, I suppose I'm thinking something really accessible like that, traveling or picking up some rubbish or something. Um, yeah,
Could we, would it plogging uh, do it? Plogging, for those of you who don't know, is combining jogging or walking with picking up trash along the way. And for example, New York Road Runners, which is the organization that runs, pun intended, the New York City Marathon and the New York City Half, and et cetera, they do plogging events before all of their big races. Maybe what we could, all of us could, making it Plogtober. Oh my gosh, sorry, that was bad. But whatever, not every one that I have is a good one, but still, that could be something. All right, Bridget, I think you were next, and then Sadie after her, after Bridget.
Yes, actually, my idea was like along the lines of what both of you guys were just talking about. I think I remember when I was growing up, we had like a day at school where we would ride our bikes to school. Like everybody would just go and ride their bikes. So something as simple as that. I like the idea that like obviously it has to do with sport, but I think like doing an action that we're already doing and making it more like sustainable, or just doing something about climate change while doing those actions that we're already implementing in our daily lives will be so easy for us and like investors and other people. But I'm sure maybe someone has a better idea than like just biking. There could be a little something more, but I feel like we're starting to build something.
Sadie.
Yeah, I like those ideas a lot. I was thinking for social media purposes, at least for the eco athletes, maybe we could have something like a bingo card that you post or something. Like I know there's a lot of those challenges where you do like a bingo card and see which ones you filled out. I don't know if there could be like some incentive to that or something like for other people to post their bingo cards. But that's an idea I have. And then I would love like a plogging. I think there's a lot like run clubs are so popular these days everywhere. I think we could partner with run clubs that are in our cities to do something like a like plogging day. I know, like to make things fun in San Diego, they have like DJs while doing like run club, or they have like these crazy different events. So we could even combine that like for the the younger crowd with like a party atmosphere
That's
for
cool.
plogging.
Maybe
Yeah.
that could be one of the San Diego things that you do with Lena and the softballers from UCSD.
Yeah, it would be really cool. I mean, Run Club is just so popular. That's something that I was thinking of. But plogging, I think, could be something that, like, even if you just went out on your own on a run and like picked up trash, that someone could do. So I think that would be a
I
good
would
event.
say of all the ideas that people have been floating, not just in this meeting, but in others, blogging is sort of the most flexible. You could do it in a really big group, you could do it solo,
Yep.
you could do it anywhere. Um, Anybody who's doing any sport could do blogging. So, I mean, it would be really cool if you could adapt it to like whatever sport you do, right? So if you're a rower, you could maybe focus on like literally grabbing water while you're out on the river wherever you row. Whereas, you
And
know,
the swimmers,
yeah,
and we have, I mean, aside
parallel.
from, we have several swimmers. We have, let's see, we have Bridget, we have Maddie, and then we also have Merla the mermaid, who is not on this call. But for those of you who don't know Merla, she is a mermaid swimmer in Miami, Florida, and she is the Guinness World Record holder for the longest mermaid swim. Yes, she puts on a monofin, and she can you in mermaid swimming, you cannot use your arms. You can only use your core and the fin, and she did 30 miles in 13 hours. And but when she's not doing the record swims, she takes kids out and she teaches them how to mermaid swim, and they go out off of in the water off Miami Beach, and they bring a bag with them and they collect ocean trash because they're not using their arms when they swim, which is pretty cool. Anyway, uh Brinna and then Ridian again coming back.
I'm just kind of thinking of like a social media aspect. I don't know if it would be cool to see like how athletes use the outdoors for their training. Like I think I told you about where I'm from, the Adirondack Mountains, and those are huge in my sort of personal training. Like I would go out and climb mountains, I'd go out on the beach and do sprints. I'd use the lake next to my house. I'd go out for runs in the woods. So I don't know if like on social media you could post how I train or how you
Yes.
train for your sport. I don't know
And
how it
how,
work for other sports, but for me, like I can go out and do soccer training anywhere. And I think that'd be cool to see how people use the outdoors in their own training.
and how the outdoors is being threatened. And I also think that that works well for basketball, right? Because basketball, or any of the indoor sports, right? You're thinking, okay, that's not impacted by climate change. But, oh, Emily had to drop off, I guess. But how many basketball players really became really good by playing outdoors on playground, on playground courts. And now those are baking, or soccer players, or even ice hockey players who play, the heritage of ice hockey is on frozen ponds in places like Saskatchewan or whatever. But now, because of climate change, um, the pond hockey season is much shorter. Um, I also think, before I hand it to Ridian, Zaina, who is a heptathlete, I wonder if, that means are you doing 7 sports in 2 days, or is it one day? 2 days. So, I could see a whole series, not to give you stuff to do, but an idea for Zaina about like just how endurance sports, and Ridian also as a race walker, and uh, Talia Green, that is, as a race walker, um, endurance sports, that's a whole other topic area. And so anyway, and with that, I mentioned Ridian. Now I hand it off to Ridian.
Thanks. Yeah, I really, really love that bingo card idea because I think that's a way that you can shoehorn a lot of different actions and give people options of what works for them. Um, like, you can even throw in like donate to a climate organization or nature organization in there, or maybe also even just including a bit of like notice nature, find 5 different bird species or something. Um, like, yeah, and it gives people options, and I think that that's also really shareable on social media. Um, yeah, so I was just really wanting to sort of bounce off that and say like I love that idea, and then also just throw in a few other ideas of what could go on the bingo card.
Cool. I like uh, Talia Green, the race walker, is going do in a duel.
No, I just wanted to add that I really like this idea with like the like focus on like outdoors, like how much we use the earth to train and to like live our daily lives. And it just made me think of, even as like an endurance athlete, when I don't have, like, growing up, I never had like a gym membership, and when I need to lift, I'd go to the park and just find things that were heavy enough to do whatever training I had, and just like finding a rock to like lift, or like just things like that. And just, it's like the like sort of not the main focus of our events always are somewhere that's like explicitly in nature and the outdoors. But there's a lot of things we do regularly that also rely on that, and it's just as easy to talk to. So I love that idea.
Woohoo. And I think we have Logan.
Yeah, I wanna plug and support the bingo card idea because I think it's a great way to like not just give people a lot of flexibility, but also give them like lots of different things that they can do and stay engaged throughout the entire month. So I really like that idea. I wonder if one that would be worth highlighting as well is like either encouraging people to like educate themselves about a climate issue and like call their elected officials about it, or talk to a friend or family member about it. Something that involves like really starting and perpetuating the conversation around climate beyond just yourself. Especially because I know how like uncomfortable for some people it can be to really to have those conversations or to feel like they can make an impact beyond just themselves. But it's that sort of like collective action of like, everybody talking to their, you know, pushing for, like sustainable, like laws around sustainability that make people feel like they're part of a bigger movement and not just acting on their own. And I think maybe focusing, specifically on the rhetoric of, like calling your elected officials, whoever they are, might be a good, like, I guess, politically agnostic way to get about it. Like, or maybe not politically agnostic, but like nonpartisan, rather than saying, vote for this person or that person, saying like, hey, whoever represents you in government, whatever their views are, you can make your voice heard.
I mean, I think one of the I brought an idea of something somewhat similar to this in the first uh, brainstorm last week. Um, just called it like something around climate conversations. And
Mhm.
and I wonder if there's a way, and it might be for this year, it could be for next year, like to figure out how, like, to quantify the climate conversations that our champions have and that your followers have, like by showing little videos, just sending, could be 20-second videos. And we're not going to show all of them, but we collate all of them. And this is how many climate conversations we had. Um,
Yeah, I like
just
that.
on the issue of calling your electeds, we can encourage that. We just have to be very careful as a 501(c)(3) nonprofit in the US. Like we can't be seen as, I think you were saying something along these lines, Logan, where we can't like be seen as partisan in any way in terms of
Exactly. Yeah, no.
supporting any candidates or political parties. But we can certainly uh, advocate for issues, and we can advocate for people to call their electeds and to register to vote and things like that. Obviously, since we're a global organization and we have champions from all over the world, and their election days are on different, but it doesn't matter. Like so I think this is a good area to explore. Maddie and then Sadie for her second time.
Yeah, I wanted to piggyback off the bingo board idea because I think that's really fun to engage on social media. We did a bingo board with my team this summer, where everyone at the beginning of the summer submitted like ideas for a bingo board, and then someone made a template and then sent it to our team group chat. So then, as we completed items, like we would send pictures. So I think that that could be a fun way to like engage with people. If we did like make a bingo board template, was to make like little spaces at the bottom of each like subject so like for people to include pictures, like if there was like oh, I pick up litter, and like you could take a picture of like whatever you picked up. I don't know, I think that would be fun to like connect with different people and like actually be able to visualize and like see what people are doing.
So that's really cool. I was thinking that we could encourage people to like post their bingo card and then like a swipe carousel with like a picture of them doing each action. But I haven't actually used a bingo card for actions like that. When you do a bingo card, are you supposed to do like, let's say if there were 25 things on there, although that seems overwhelming, like maybe a 3 by 3 with like 9 actions. Let's just go with that. So let's say act was the word, we would come up with something better, but we're going with it because it's 3 letters. So if it was like ACT and then there were like 3 actions under each A, C, or T, are you looking to get like one in each column? Is that how it works? Or do you
At
have to
least
do all 9 things?
At least for my team, it was super chill. It was just like do whichever you just like happen to be doing during the summer. But it would be interesting to look into like actually making it like hit, because ours was really big. Ours was definitely not possible for every single person to like hit a bingo, but it'd be interesting to look into like actually making them like aligned so you can get like an actual like bingo. But ours was super chill. You just like submitted whichever ones you like happen.
So in real bingo, though, you want to do one thing, you want to have something in each column. Is that how that works? Does anyone know?
Yeah, essentially
In
it's like
real
a
bingo,
five
yes.
in a row, yeah.
So in
Yeah,
real
Either
bingo,
row or
you want to
column,
have
whatever.
one thing under the B and one thing under the I, like
Yeah,
that.
except there's no letters that are gonna happen. It's just gonna be actions and then people fill it out. It's more like, I guess if you want to think about it more like Connect Four or something. Like it's
Okay.
it's following the different actions instead of the letters being there.
Okay. So you'd want something to be touching from each one, like a
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So
We
And
you'd
might
and
want
you
have to
might
to,
have it.
also have like free parking in the middle, and that could be a good place to put like the Green Sports Month logo, for example.
yeah,
We might have to have a tutorial,
yeah.
especially for like Yeah, I remember bingo when I was like, well, anyway, but I get the gist kind of, and
Yeah,
it does.
it seems like the bingo card is a great way to sort of let people choose their own actions, but yet make it cohesive.
All right, now we have
Talia?
Sadie,
Oh,
then
sorry.
Talia.
I had another idea because October is Halloween. I know there's like a bunch of thrift stores around, so thrifting Halloween outfits could be a series too, or maybe that's something on the bingo card. I don't know. It's just an idea to throw out there, but
And that's a great
uh,
way to end it also, because and Halloween is one of the more environmentally harmful holidays because of these plastic single-use costumes that, so I think there's something there. And now Talia Green, back at it.
Hi, sorry, I'll step back a minute after
No,
this. But
sorry, this is awesome. I
um,
just like announcing everybody.
with the bingo card idea, I love what everyone's been saying, and I think with the talking about like doing using photos as well, another way to do that could be to have like something that my college has done is like different, like you submit photos not with your card individually, but it's sort of all the photos are collected into a larger like image that's built on a like potentially on the Eco Athletes website. And then the goal is to like fill out to the entire image. So it could be, I don't know whether, I don't know if that's like the Green Sports Month like logo or a picture of the earth, some sort of graphic, and then all the photos. Um, I'm not sure how to do it right now, but there's ways to make it come together so that you have all the photos. You can kind of like zoom in and see individual photos, but it's like a collective effort that's shown, and like the each image is built as like a pixel of the graphic, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes. Would it would it make sense, and I may not be saying this right, but and you guys who are all more computer or savvy than I um, could answer this. Would it make sense to create just for this bingo idea? Because it sounds like there's a lot of going on. Would it make sense to create kind of a Google Doc just for that? And so that, or some other way of collating it all? Because it does sound like there's a lot of buzz around this thing. And if it's not a Google, like something.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great idea. Like just to get all, I mean, we've had, so many great ideas over the past couple locker room sessions. I think just getting them all down in writing, to start really forming something would be a great idea.
And I think so. I think bingo, and I do think plugging is very simple, as you know, and I think that can also be another thing that we do. Like there doesn't have to just be one thing.
Well,
But
I mean, the plugging, all of these things could be on the bingo card.
yes, yes.
Have a
But
climate conversation, call an elected official, thrift your Halloween,
yes,
plugging, overdress, walk or bike instead of drive, public transportation, eat a
uh,
vegan meal.
yes, all of the above. Take shorter showers, etc. Especially with um was there anyone else who was looking to? And we are coming up on time, and I want to respect our time. And I know where Brenna is, it's already 10:30 and it's dark where she is. Um, and she may be playing in the Azteca, so she's got to get enough sleep. Um, so um, first of all, are there any other ideas, or are we good for now? I want to just like this was one hell of a brainstorm session, y'all. Thank you.
One
Um,
last idea, sorry.
oh, Ridian, you're in.
Yeah, like just in terms of the bingo thing, like for example, where the conservation non-for-profit I work at, I've sort of teed up with we've got a community fundraising person that works there, and I've teed up to basically do like a bit of community fundraising for them based on like I've got a competition at the end of October, and so like for example with the on the bingo card, like supporting donate to a climate organization, for example, like I would in my instance if I'm running a bingo card, I'd basically that would be my like, hey, you can like you can tick off your bingo card by supporting um this thing. If other people were say, for example, wanting to run donations for the Ocean Conservancy or whatever else, they could also do that. It'd be a good way, I think, for if particular eco athletes champions wanted to do that, it'd be a great way to then like have an excuse to post the bingo card and hopefully also get some donations to good climate action organizations.
Awesome. And wait, Sadie.
Mine was just like an actionable thing that I would love to see, is like a Google Doc or an Excel sheet where we can all put our ideas, because I think I have so many more ideas that I would love to like flesh out and put down, and then maybe like in the next session we can go through them or something.
We can do that. We will set up a Google Doc, and maybe what it is, you know what? I'll set it up, but I'm sure you guys can organize it better than I could. But I like the way I'm envisioning it. There's the bingo idea, and you guys can crowdsource that, and then another tab could be another idea, and another tab could be another idea on the same doc. So you have the tabs at the bottom. Does that sound like a good approach? Raise your hand. Anybody?
I think that'd be good. Yeah.
All right. Wow. Okay. That's surprising that I had one that um anyway, all right. Well, amazing. Just like you guys rock. All right, before we break, Logan, speaking of crowdsourcing, uh Logan can I don't know how many if how many of you have seen the video that Logan created and to promote uh athletes becoming eco athletes champions and also promoting Green Sports Month. And Logan had this great idea. So I'm going to stop talking and I'll allow Logan to explain what he's doing and how you can get involved.
Yeah, thanks. So I posted this back on, I think it was July 28th. I'm going to share the link to it right here as well. But basically, I'm putting together sort of a demo reel or like a call to action that will eventually post on, I guess, on the Eco Athletes social media and wherever else we want to, with each of us kind of collaboratively explaining, sort of the I guess you would call it like the narrative or the origin of eco athletes, what we all do, and kind of introducing it to the general public, but especially to other collegiate and professional athletes as this thing of like, hey, are you a professional athlete who's experienced climate change and environmental damage affecting your sport, and do you want to do something about it but you don't really know where to start? And that's kind of where we come in, and just sort of introduce ourselves as this big collective of athletes who are working together to raise awareness and create collective action around climate change. And I've essentially put it together as like one big script that's broken up into a whole lot of just smaller, like bite-sized pieces, each only one or two sentences. And the big idea here, I've made sort of a demo version where I'm doing the whole thing myself in like individual clips. But the idea is that we would have as many people as possible record one or two of these individual lines just to show like how many of us there are, how many different sports we're touching, what a big community this is, and what kind of reach we can have when we all work together. So we've already had a good few people send in like just individual parts of this, including Ridian. So thank you for that. But basically the idea is, we'd get like different people for each line, then put it all together, do some uh, some video editing to make it look a little bit better, maybe put in some background music, and then have that be, just like people's introduction on social media to eco athletes. So
And
I
it could
have
be,
a
hold
go
on,
ahead.
and it could be on our website, which we are in the process of upgrading it, and we're in the, I would say, patches in the home stretch of the
Oh,
process
yeah.
to where it's actually going to go live after quite some time. Um, and so this would be a cool thing on our new website.
Yeah, so all of this will kind of be hopefully coming to a head right around the start of Green Sports Month, ideally.
Yeah,
Um,
somewhere in there.
Yeah. So anyway, I have a Google Drive folder that I've put together specifically for this project. I'm going to link it here in the chat in just 1 second, once I send it to myself. But I created like a spreadsheet with like each of the lines and then somewhere that you can sign up, just to make sure that um, just so like nothing gets missed and we don't have like, everybody doing the same like one line. But if anyone wants to record something like that, and send it in, I did a bunch of these myself, and they each took maybe like 20 or 30 seconds. And then I'd be happy to do all like the editing and compilation and stuff myself. But yeah, I'd really appreciate, whatever participation we can get.
And then Logan,
We really appreciate that you've spearheaded this and your offer to edit it. It's really fantastic, Logan. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
and so to make so it goes quickly, each of the champions who participate will have one line. And would you then, in the editing, say Deja Davis does reads voices one of the lines, would there be a graphic that would say Deja Davis, Duke softball or whatever it might be?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that would give people a big or a good picture of like just how many sports and organizations we're involved in. And that also would help people here get their names out as well.
Yes, and it would also be, and we would it, it'll be open to any champion, so they don't have to come on this Zoom because this isn't
Yeah,
always. And so we have champions as with Ridian all over the world,
absolutely.
even in Tomorrowland.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly, exactly.
and Ridian, you didn't tell me this. I think you won the Australian champion. You are the Australian race walk champion at a certain distance. Is that right?
Um, yeah, I think it was the marathon walk national championships we had in June. So yeah, that probably would be the most recent one.
Wow, congratulations.
That is fantastic. And that's on the back of, guys, his bronze medal at Paris 2024. How about that? So,
Incredible.
yeah. So, all right. We will get the Google Doc started. Um, you guys have all taken down the URL from Logan. We will share that with all the rest of the champions. And I thank you all for just a wonderful session and for just you guys blow me away. That's all it is. Like, thank you so much. Um, and have a great night or afternoon, or as the case may be.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for hosting this.
Thank you.
Guillermo?
He might have. Ooh, I'm going to stop recording now.